Well, we're back right here in the studio, and I hope everyone out there is having a very nice evening. We have with us right now His Excellency Dr. Adarsh Swaika, and he is the Ambassador of India to the State of Kuwait. Your Excellency, welcome to our program, Hala Kuwait.
Thank you, Mr. Tariq. It's always a pleasure to be on your show.
It's a pleasure to have you. We know you have a very busy schedule. We appreciate your time with us tonight. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Looking forward.
Mr. Ambassador, we've seen a series of very high-level meetings between India and Kuwait in recent times. How do you see that, Your Excellency?
I would say that it was long overdue, and we have actually seen a number of high-level interactions in the recent past, and most notably was the interaction between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and His Highness the Crown Prince on the sidelines of UNGA in New York, and they had a very, very good meeting. I think that would lay the foundation for I think, a renewed partnership between India and Kuwait. Most recently, my Minister of External Affairs was here in August, and he also had a very good meeting with his counterpart, Foreign Minister of Kuwait, Abdullah Ali Yahya. My minister called on His Highness the Crown Prince, also His Highness the Prime Minister. I think that was a very clear message we got from the Kuwaiti leadership that they are very much interested in a very good partnership with India. And I think both sides are working very strongly on that aspect, and we feel that that our relationship is very comfortable in many respects, and there's a strong potential for upgrade. So what we are seeing is that we are ready for an upgrade with this upswing in our relations.
Yes, it's a long storied friendship between the two countries, Mr. Ambassador, and statistics indicate that the Indian exports to Kuwait touched $2 billion mark in the last financial year. Are we seeing an increase in bilateral trade, and are there positive signs of further increase, Your Excellency?
No, this what you mentioned that we touched $2 billion is something which is very, very encouraging. And bilateral trade has been, as you know, historically has been the edifice of our relation. That continues to be so in contemporary context also. But the bilateral trade has been in the range of 10 to 14 billion dollars. But what is most important that we are seeing is that it's a diversification of the Indian export basket to Kuwait. We are now seeing more and more made in India cars, two-wheelers, telecom equipments, textiles, ceramics, apart from the traditional items of rice, spices, tea, coffee, etc. So I think what we see today is more diversification. Obviously, energy and food remains the pillars. We are almost almost 1/6 of our energy requirements are met from Kuwait oil imports, and similarly, a lot of the food sector imports in Kuwait are from India. So I think these are going to stay, but what we are going to add more and more is indicative of the strength of our economy. So I think there is a lot more potential on this front. The India GCC free trade agreement discussions are also underway. That would give a further fillip to our bilateral trade. So I think it's a good story, and I think we should focus on bilateral trade for our times to come.
And we'll talk a little bit more later on about the economic ties and so forth. But the new government, Mr. Ambassador of the State of Kuwait, is focusing on a lot of infrastructure projects. Are the Indian companies keen to participate in these like some other countries are doing?
Absolutely. I think we see a lot of interest in the part of Indian companies to come to Kuwait to participate in these infrastructure projects. In fact, some of them have undertaken projects in Kuwait, some are undertaking currently, and I'm sure that they are looking positively to Kuwait market. Some of the projects like the Kuwait University new complex, the Al Sabah Hospital, the Kuwait Iraq electricity transmission project, these are all being implemented by Indian companies. So, and many of in the oil and gas sector area, you have the South Sura road project being done by an Indian company. So I think, and there is a renewed interest in India. Even if you see the JLR Range Rover cars, these are all Tata cars, which are Indian companies. So I think you are going to see an increased presence of Indian companies in Kuwait.
Yeah, it seems like more varied now with a lot of different things.
Yeah, and that's because the government of Kuwait is more encouraging and more welcoming of foreign companies in Kuwait.
That's great to hear, Mr. Ambassador. And we've also seen the Indian Embassy constantly focusing on investment cooperation between the two countries. How do you assess that, and are there good prospects in this area in your opinion, please?
No, this is definitely a very, very good area of cooperation. That's why I think we have been emphasizing on this aspect of cooperation. Look at India of today. What is it? It is a country with almost a 4 trillion economy, the 5th largest economy, and very soon going to be the 3rd largest economy, growing at a rate of 7 to 8% over the last 10 or 12 years, and I think projected to be doing so. So the economy is growing at it's one of the major growing economies. So what we are seeing in India is a massive transformation in the infrastructure space, be it ports, railways, renewable energy. You know, our renewable energy plan is to have 500 gigawatts of energy by 2030, and we have already done 195 gigawatts. So you will need an investment of almost $250 billion by 2030. So there is a massive scope. We are adding almost 30 kilometers of road every day. We are adding 12 kilometers of rail track every day. We are adding 7 to 8 airports every year. We are adding 1 to 2 subways or metro stations in cities. So this is what we are looking at in terms of Indian infrastructure growth. So definitely we feel that there is a lot of scope for Kuwaiti investors to look at India, and this is emblematic of the entire global the developed countries looking at India, and there we are seeing a lot of investment flows. Today, last year we had an investment flow of $70 billion. In the last 10 years, it has been over $600 billion. So it makes a lot of sense for our Kuwaiti investors, friends, to look at the Indian growth story, and therefore I think investment is a very, very strong area of cooperation.
Yeah, the investment opportunities and projects are vast in so many different fields, as you were mentioning, Your Excellency, and the Indian community in the state of Kuwait, Your Excellency, as you know, have been here for decades. They've helped Kuwait establish and build and worked in many different fields. How do you assess this contribution in promoting the India-Kuwait ties?
No, we have been speaking on this this aspect every time when we come on this show, and my question, I've always been very, very bullish on the community, how they have contributed over the years to the building of the relationship. See, if you go and talk to any Kuwaiti, they will have some or the other Indian connection, whether it is in the business or in the household, or whether their forefathers have been in touch with India, friends, or the travel. So there is an immediate Indian connect, and that's what our Indian community brings. It is because of them that this Indian connect is there. So I think they are growing. They are by far the largest expatriate community in Kuwait. When I speak to my Kuwaiti friends, it comes out clear that the community of first choice, they are trustworthy, hardworking. So I think we attribute a lot of importance to the community in building the relationship between India and Kuwait, and that our Prime Minister says that they are the true ambassadors of our country. So we have 1 million ambassadors in Kuwait.
All doing a great job, Your Excellency. And culture plays an important role in a lot of different things in bringing people together. So culture continues to be a binding force between our two countries. Recently we heard about the starting of the Hindi language program on Kuwait National Radio. Congratulations on that achievement, Your Excellency. And I also saw media reports recently regarding Hindi language teaching in the state of Kuwait also. Also, congratulations for yourself and the team on getting that done. So tell our audience something about these two things, sir.
Again, culture flowing from what is the strength of the Indian community here. The culture has been a binding force between our two countries, and that goes back to history when Kuwaitis used to travel to India in the 19th century, 20th century. They went for trade, but they brought back ideas, traditions, and history with them. And that's why you see so many commonalities between us, what we eat, what we speak, the Indian movies, the music, performing arts. There's so much of affinity among Kuwaitis, and affinity among Kuwaitis. So I think that's really a binding force. Take that thing to the Hindi thing which you mentioned. We recently see that there is a lot of traction for Hindi language in Kuwait. Even in the road signs, you will see somewhere it's written in Hindi. So we have taken a leaf, and we are very grateful to the Ministry of Information for agreeing to a proposal to start a Hindi language program in Kuwait National Radio. It is 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Sunday, and I think that's a good number of people are listening to it. Our Prime Minister, in one of his radio shows, expressed gratitude to the government of Kuwait for starting this. He has a regular monthly radio show called Man Ki Baat, and it was covered, and yes, so he appreciated that very much. And as you just mentioned, we have just signed an agreement with the Gust University to start a Hindi language teaching program. So what it entails is that there will be a Hindi professor from India in Gust University, and he will be teaching Hindi language. They will use it. They will make an elective on Hindi language from the next academic session. That is the plan, and we hope that we will be able to work around that.
Yeah, keep us updated when the professor arrives, Mr. Ambassador. We'd love to have him on our program to talk a little bit more about the courses.
Yes.
We'll look forward to that. And Your Excellency, there was also a recent news item regarding India GCC foreign ministers meeting in Riyadh. So what is it about, and what is its significance, and will it have an impact on the bilateral relations, please?
India GCC relations have been bound by history, tradition, trade, investment, and Kuwait is an example of it. So what we have seen, this was the first meeting between Indian foreign minister and all the GCC foreign ministers in the single format. I think this is something which signifies that importance which India attaches to all the GCC countries, and the GCC countries that attach to India. Look at some, if I can give you some statistics, almost 30% of our diaspora, 9 million, are in GCC countries. We import 30% of our oil from GCC countries, 70% of our gas from GCC countries, 1/6 of our trade is with GCC countries, almost $180 billion. So there is a lot of things which are going between India and GCC countries in different domains. Now I don't think there are any domains which we have left, so whether it is marine cooperation, IT projects, name it, and it is there. So I think this format is poised to grow, and I think it will have a lot of impact on our bilateral relations with Kuwait as well, because what we do with other GCC countries can be replicated with Kuwait. What we do with Kuwait can be replicated with other GCC countries. So it's a very good forum for having a cross-cutting overview. Some of the issues, some of the ideas are common to GCC countries. So, and that can be taken forward from there.
Yeah, inshallah, this bilateral relationship will increase even further with the state of Kuwait and the GCC, Your Excellency. And you know, the Indian embassy right here in the state of Kuwait's well known for organizing so many different events for the Indian community, for many different people. So we're always looking forward to the events, Your Excellency, organized by the Indian Embassy in Kuwait. Any upcoming events that you would like to talk about for the audience watching Hala Kuwait this evening, sir?
No, we definitely have
very busy
events, and I think they are of a different nature. October first half, we are coming with a tourism promotion event where a lot of big hoteliers and tourism travel agencies will come from India. They will interact with the travel agencies from Kuwait to apprise them of the tourism opportunities in India, which are not known to Kuwait. I have always been saying that India is much more than Mumbai, Kerala, Goa and Delhi, and there are a lot of other tourism opportunities. That is one event. The second event which we are planning with UN Habitat is a very, very novel kind of event, and which is Plant for Mother. So what our Prime Minister started a campaign on the World Environment Day in June this year is to plant one tree in the name of your mother. And that campaign has taken India by storm. So we have by now planted 600 million trees.
Oh, wow.
The plan is to have 800 million trees by September, by this month, and 1.4 billion by March of next year. And so this campaign is not only in India, but we have taken across the world, because we all care for planet. I think it's all a common duty. So with UN Habitat, we are planning this event in October, where we will ask people to come with the plant and plant in the name of their mother. So, so that is one. We will be having 2 Indian naval ships and 1 Coast Guard ship visiting Kuwait port in October, again second half. That again gives an opportunity to not only showcase our military capabilities in the naval domain, but also for exchanges between Indian Navy and Kuwait Navy. We are looking at a big concert, a very renowned Indian musician to come to Kuwait in November. So we are working on that. And we are also looking at a big startup conference in December, early December, like we did the investment conference earlier this year. So I think these are some of the events which we are planning, and we will be very happy to associate with KTV on this.
Well, it's a pleasure, Your Excellency. It looks like a very busy schedule going into the new year. And once again, it's our pleasure to have you with us right here on Hala Kuwait. Do you have any last words or comments for the audience watching tonight's program?
I think I always have maintained with the audience that whatever we can do to promote India-Kuwait relations, I think we will be very happy to have anybody come up with any idea of how we can further promote India-Kuwait relations. So that's a message for the audience, and we look forward to their participation in some of our events, in upcoming events.
Thank you for coming, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank His Excellency Dr. Adarsh Swaika, the Ambassador of India to the State of Kuwait, for his time and valuable insight with us this evening right here on